Don't know if you remember a few years ago when they were talking about designer babies. It was all over the media. Well, I say all over, it was kind of like, you'd see it quite a lot in like lifestyle magazines, and it was going to be the new thing in science. It was going to be the latest, the utopian thing on the horizon that was coming through science, that they were going to be able to create an embryo from the mother and father, and it would be free of things like cancer, grow up to be free of cancer, diseases. They'd be able to, create a perfectly healthy human being. And there was all kind of like potential for parents to create, in like test tubes, they could create a human offspring who would be, say, the perfect athlete, 6 feet tall, that kind of thing. And that was going to be the future. And it was all talk of it everywhere, like New Scientist magazine, it was in like lifestyle magazines, that kind of thing, and supplements. And it just sort of, the kind of whole thing kind of died off. It would just kind of gone, sorry, that glare's a bit intense, isn't it? Never mind. Try and whip the thing around here, that's better. It kind of died off a good few years ago. They just stopped mentioning the whole designer babies thing. We're going through all the stuff we're going through now with the vax and all that, but so maybe that's kind of changed the scientific trajectory of things, maybe. But it was an interesting one though, and I was thinking about it, like, if they were to bring in designer babies tomorrow and it was to become like mega popular and all the parents were able to access that kind of were able to do that, just imagine like the whole human race. I mean, the race would change within a generation. It would look completely different. We'd end up looking like giants. Well, I say we, I mean the ones who were genetically altered would look like giants, and you could come to have like in time, just like you have the vaxxed and the unvaxxed now, it's kind of like the vaxxed look down on the unvaxxed. Not the majority of them, but like a lot of them do look down on the unvaxxed, just kind of like vermin and disease ridden, or carrying the illness. It's just human nature being what it is. It's like people never change, and if you had a society where you had super healthy humans who were like 6 feet tall, beautiful looking women and men who look like athletes, and Hitler's fantasy basically, they would come to look down upon us normal ones. We'd be seen like the freaks. We'd be like the goblins. We'd be like the Irish folklore. You have the Fomorians. We'd be like the Fomorians. We'd be like the freaks. You'd have like a new caste system like that probably. Designer humans would be the children of science. They'd be the chosen children of science, and we'd be the old world. Us normal ones would be considered the old world that has to be phased out, kind of thing. And it would be probably like Aldous Huxley. God, I'm getting a bit dark here, aren't I? Now I'm getting kind of. I don't mean to be dark. I don't mean to like sound. I don't mean to sound like pessimistic. I just kind of find the whole thing interesting. Like, you're trying to work out how things could look in the future. You could have like a caste system that falls from this, and then it could go even further than that. Like we have all the gender dysphoria and confusion now, and we have male athletes competing in women's sports, like the last Olympic Games, and just shamelessly competing in women's sports and winning gold, destroying the dreams of the women competing in that. Well, I mean, that just could be the tip of the iceberg. If you have designer babies as the norm, you could end up with, say, woke parents designing an absolute freak. Because people say, "Oh, science would never go that far." They'd never go that far, but they would go that far if the money's involved. I mean, look at Big Pharma and the that whole area. You know, it's a big business now. Science, it's become a big money business. The whole climate change thing is a business. It's a business model, and I think that you know, just imagine all these kind of parents who, like the Charlize Theron type parents, and you know, who want to genderless child. You know, imagine what they'd create. You know. But in terms of like things like sport, they could create humans who like have extra limbs or something like that. They could end up looking like a Hindu god or goddess. You know, they could end up looking really freaky and weird. And now on BBC Two, due to change of schedule, we are now able to present you A Trip to Theatreland with resident critic and paedophile Lord Sebastian Smythe. Welcome to my review of the theatre. Today we're going to look at The Phantom of the Opera by Andrew Lloyd Webber. And this one is a weird one. It's one, you know, I'm glad all the theatres are opening up now after all the COVID lockdowns. I'm glad they're all opening up. And I went to the theatre recently and it was a real treat. And I can't remember the name of the thing I saw now. It was really good, and at the Old Vic. The Baghdad, I think it was called the Baghdad Cafe or something like that. But some things I've been going for years and years, decades and decades, and I can't work out why, because I just don't get why they're any good, considered any good. And one of them would be The Phantom of the Opera. Now, that's a mega popular musical that's been going for a long time, and written by Andrew Lloyd Webber, I think it was, and absolute garbage. Absolute garbage. I don't know how. I was taken to see that when I was about 9 years old, and it was like, even at that age, I was like, this is like, in my mind, I was just trying to. I couldn't get why. I just couldn't get the point of it at all. It was just so lame. It was like someone took the 1960s Batman Adam West TV show and made it into a serious opera. You know, imagine someone did that. That's what it was like watching this. It was like, I remember going into it thinking, oh, it's going to be really spooky. It looks really spooky and scary, and it's going to be lots of scares and all that. And it ended up just being like a romance novel for an elderly lady. That's what it was like. It was like that. It was like a romantic elderly ladies like type thing. It was just it's so lame and twee. It's unbelievable. And the story, I mean, is so ridiculous. To explain it, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just this dude. He's an opera singer, and then something happens. I don't know if there's a death or something happens, and then he's disfigured, and half his face is covered in a mask. Sounds very familiar. And he's exiled or something. He has to run away. So he hides in the wings, you know, in the wings of the theatre, and up in the ceiling area, up in the, you know, what do you call it there? He hides up there amongst the, you know. And whenever there's a performance, one of the female operatics is singing, he will suddenly chime in and start singing, and the whole thing is like, oh,
where is that voice coming from? Where is the voice coming from? And that's where that's basically all the drama right there. You know, it's like, oh, there's a voice, the phantom voice. It's the phantom of the opera is singing. You know, and it's like, to me, like it's meant to be like, it's like a love story. It's like a love story, that kind of thing. Because, you know, he's chiming in and they're singing in synchronization with each other. And that's about the story right there. That's the whole story right there. So I've saved you having to go and sit through it now. And the singing in it is dreadful. It's dreadful. I mean, I'm not mad on singing. I don't like singing generally in plays or anything like that. But I don't mind it if it has to be there. But like Oklahoma's all right. I remember seeing Oklahoma, and that was kind of entertaining and it was good. But this is like, the singing is it's so pretentious. It takes itself so seriously. It's like the music is like it's so goofy. It's like, behold the phantom of the opera. It's like that. I give my love to you. The phantom of the opera. It's like that, droning on like that throughout the whole freaking thing, and it's God, you just want to pop it like a balloon. You just want to pop it's just it needs a bit of light relief or something, and it's just. And it's never scary, or there's nothing remotely unnerving about it. It has the tension of, it has all the tension of Murder, She Wrote. It's that level of kind of, it's just tame stuff, man. You know, it thinks it's like a kind of, it almost thinks it's like a kind of Edward Scissorhands type thing, maybe. But none of the fun quirkiness of that film, none of that. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that bit of useless review of well, the thing is, you should never go and see that anyway. You should never be going to see that. And anyone who does go and see that and claims to enjoy it in any way, that's scientific proof right there. That's like the ultimate test. That's the ultimate, like PCR test, what do they call it? That's the ultimate test of an NPC. If they enjoy that, there's something wrong with them. Seriously, no, you're not allowed to enjoy that. I know they always say that, you know, it's a question of taste. It's different taste. I don't care. You're not allowed to enjoy that. That's not normal. You know, you have no taste if you have no taste if you like that. You really have no taste. Okay, so we sorted that out now. So. Thank you for that. Okay. They could create all kinds of redesigned human beings, and they could invent new sports at the Olympic Games where they had genetically created special humans with, you know, extra limbs or like a tail or something like that. You could, you know, maybe throw a discus an extra hundreds of, you know, meters or whatever, you know, because they got a special tail. You know, an extra tail or something like that. But, you know, the world could look very freaky very fast. I think it would get freaky like that. I think it would get, you know, the temptation of science just to do things like that, to modify the human body, like to fix things that they think need fixing. There was a really good documentary, I don't know if you call it a documentary, it was like just a science program on the BBC a couple of years ago, and I tried to attach a video of it on here, but I had copyright problems, so I couldn't do it. But if you go on YouTube and look up Alice Roberts, type in Alice Roberts
redesign, or Alice Roberts Science Museum. If you type that into YouTube, you'll see the video of the program. And what happened basically was that I think it was like science students had to redesign Alice Roberts. Like if it was like evolution, if they were like if it was an evolutionary process, they had to try and imagine an evolutionary process where, you know, over hundreds of years, I mean not hundreds of years, over vast amounts of time, how she could look different, how the human form could be improved. And they did things like they changed her, they gave her like ears like bat type ears, you know, like she can improve her hearing. They changed the eyes to make them bigger. They did kind of weird stuff like that. They did. They changed her legs so that she could run like a cheetah. Instead of a womb, they gave her a pouch like a kangaroo has, with the baby's head sticking out. And it was like because of the problems of childbirth, it's still quite, you know, we still haven't quite evolved childbirth properly, where, you know, the child's head's too big and all that. So you'd be like that evolved so the child grows on the outside. And then there's other kind of stuff as well. I think they gave her like a dog's heart or something weird like that. But it just shows you that, you know, they are thinking about it. You know, it's kind of playing on their mind that how could we improve the human form. And with the climate change thing as well, that you know, they might start thinking that, we have to, because of climate change, we have to alter the human form going forward in the future to survive the climate changing, you know. And I'm sure it's on their mind. I'm sure they haven't talked about designer babies for quite a while now. And I just thought that was interesting how it's no longer in the media like it was. But yeah, I was just thought. I haven't done a video for a while because I wasn't feeling very well. So I think I might have had the virus for a bit, and I was just very low ebb, and I didn't really have any ideas for videos. But I'm working on some things now, and it's just getting back into the swing of making videos again. But yeah, leave in the comments any thoughts you have about that, and what you think about the Alice Roberts video. So if you just go onto YouTube, and as I mentioned, type in Alice Roberts and Science Museum, and you'll see what I mean. And yeah, it's a freaky looking creature they come up with. But yeah, take care, and I hope everyone's keeping well, and see you soon. It's important not to get too stuck in the dark stuff all the time. I love this poem by Arthur Hugh Clough, and say not the struggle naught availeth. Say not the struggle naught availeth, that the labour and the wounds are vain. The enemy faints not nor faileth, and as things have been they remain. If hopes were dupes, fears may be liars. It may be in yon smoke concealed, your comrades chasten now the flyers, and, but for you, possess the field. For while the tide waves, vainly breaking, seem here no painful inch to gain, far back through creeks and inlets making, come silent, flooding in the main. And not by eastern windows only, when daylight comes in the light, in front the sun climbs slow, how slowly, but westward look, the land is bright.